Okay, this is Bekius video number 2. We are on Kuf Amud Aleph, 5 lines down, Ula Rav Huna. We left off last time. The Gemara concluded like the opinion of Rav Huna. Rav Huna said that our Mishnah of Erev Pesach and Samach Mincha Lo Yochel Adam Ashetechshach was following the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. That even though Rabbi Yossi believed that on Erev Shabbos and Erev Yom Tov you are allowed to eat in the afternoon, Rabbi Yossi would agree that on Erev Pesach you are not allowed to eat in the afternoon because of the chiyuv of matzah. So the Gemara picks off from that point and says, Ul Rav Huna mi nicha? Is Rav Huna's explanation really correct? Wait a second. Va'amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Doesn't Rabbi Yirmiyah say in the name of Rabbi Yochanan? V'itema, and some say that it's really Amar Rabbi Abahu, Amar Rabbi Yossi, Ba Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Abahu said, in the name of Rabbi Yossi, Ba Rabbi Chanina, the following idea. Halacha ki Rabbi Yehuda be'erev HaPesach. The halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach. V'halacha ki Rabbi Yossi be'erev Shabbos. But the halacha follows Rabbi Yossi on Erev Shabbos. That is a statement that is brought down that seems to be problematic for the following reason. Again, that the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach, and the halacha follows Rabbi Yossi on Erev Shabbos. So the Gemara asks, wait a second, halacha ki Rabbi Yehuda be'erev HaPesach, from the fact that this statement tells us that the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach, nichlal, that implies depalig Rabbi Yossi betarvayu. That implies that Rabbi Yossi, in fact, argues on both of them, both Erev Shabbos and Erev Pesach. Meaning from the fact that the Gemara says that the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda on Erev Pesach, implies that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi, in fact, argue also by Erev Pesach. And that seems to go against the concept, the idea of Rav Huna, that they agreed by Erev Pesach. So the Gemara says, no, that's not true. Halacha michlal dipligi b'hafsaka. When the Gemara says that the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda by Erev Pesach, which implies that Rabbi Yossi argues by Erev Pesach, that wasn't talking about our situation of whether you're allowed to eat on Erev Pesach before Yom Tov. Rather, it's talking about a separate issue called hafsaka, which means to stop. There's a machlokas which we're about to see between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi regarding, let's say you started eating a meal on Erev Shabbos or Erev Yom Tov or Erev Pesach in the time of the day where it's totally permitted, early in the morning, way before Mincha, way before Samach Mincha, and you're allowed to start a meal there. So you start a meal there, and your meal continues, and it's a very, very long meal, and your meal goes through Mincha Katana. It goes through the afternoon, and now the time comes and your meal is still going, and you realize, wait a second, Shabbos just started, or Yom Tov is about to start. It's about to get dark. So the question is, are you required to stop that meal and finish that meal and then start a new meal for Shabbos or Yom Tov? Or are you able to continue that first meal and just keep going to a meal just by continuing it? So the Gemara says, the Tanya, we learned in a brayso, Mafsikin l'Shabbosos divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that on Shabbos, Rabbi Yehuda holds that you are supposed to mafsik. You must stop your meal. If you started a meal in the morning on Erev Shabbos, and it continued through the day, so when Shabbos comes, you need to stop that meal. You clean the table, you bench, you stop it totally, and then you start a new meal for your Friday night dinner. Rabbi Yossi Omer ein mafsikin. Rabbi Yossi holds, no, you are not required to stop your meal. You may continue that meal and keep going, and that end part of your meal will now count as your Shabbos meal. It's regarding this machlokas of hafsaka that the Gemara said halacha ki Rabbi Yehuda be'erev Pesach, but halacha ki Rabbi Yossi be'erev Shabbos. So the Gemara now gives us a story that proves this point. Uma said Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi. There was a story with Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yossi. Shayu Mesubim ba'Akko. They were having a meal together in a town called Akko, and the meal started at a time where they were allowed to start the meal, way in the morning on Friday morning, or late in the morning. The Kiddush Aleim Hayom. And then the day became holy, which means Shabbos began, and their meal was still going. So they needed to figure out, what do we do? Should we stop the meal, or should we continue? Amar le Rabbi Shimon Gamliel to Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel said to Rabbi Yossi, Deribi, that's a term of honor, like scholar. Rabbi Yossi, Ritzoncha nafsik, is it your will, is it your desire that we should stop the meal right now? V'nechush l'dive Yehuda chaverenu, out of concern for the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, our colleague. Rabbi Yehuda believes that you're supposed to stop the meal, so maybe we should do that in concern of his opinion. Amar lo, Rabbi Yossi responds back to him, wait a second. B'chol yom v'yom ata mechabeb dvarai lifnei Rabbi Yehuda. Every single day, normally, you cherish my opinion over Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. V'achshav, and now, all of a sudden, ata mechavev divrei Rabbi Yehuda b'fanai. You're cherishing the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda in front of me? I'm right here. I argue on Rabbi Yehuda. So why normally you follow my opinion, but now that I'm here, you want to follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? Hagam l'chposh et hamalka imi babayit. This is a quote from actually Megillas Esther, where Achashverosh sees that Haman is begging Esther to spare his life, and he says, wait a second, Haman, it's me, Achashverosh, I'm here, you're doing this in my house. So basically Rabbi Yossi, is saying to Rabbi Yehuda, hey, in my house, with me right here at the table, you're trying to follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda? What a total disrespect. It's me, Rabbi Yossi. I argue on Rabbi Yehuda. Why do you want to follow his opinion? So Amar Leh, he said back to him, Im kein lo nafsik. If that's the case, then we will not stop our meal, because you, Rabbi Yossi, hold ein mafsikin, that the meal should not be stopped. And we're not going to do that. Why? We're going to follow you, Rabbi Yossi, Shema Yiru HaTalmidim, because our students may see what we would have done, V'yikbu halacha l'doros, and establish the halacha forever, like Rabbi Yehuda. Basically, the Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is basically saying that if we follow the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and stop our meal, people are going to see what we did and think that the opinion halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda, when in fact it follows Rabbi Yossi. So the Gemara concludes and says, Amru, they said, Lo zazum misham, they did not move from this spot, Ashakava halacha Rabbi Yossi, until they established halacha like Rabbi Yossi, that if your meal began at an appropriate time, at a time where it was okay to begin your meal, and the meal continues all the way till Shabbos, the halacha follows Rabbi Yossi on Shabbos, that you do not need to stop your meal. You may continue the meal into Shabbos.